Hello everyone and welcome to our latest Roland Heights Forecast Center update. And in this forecast, we're going to discuss another critical fire risk that is coming to Montana today and how big of an impact that could be after some potential fires in Washington. We're also going to discuss the significant temperatures in the Southwest and in the Great Plains over the next few days. And we're going to discuss the upcoming severe weather, which there's not a lot of it, but there's enough that we could talk about it. And then we're going to talk about the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean activities. So, yeah. There's not much to talk about in this intro, and this isn't going to be one of our crazy forecasts like we've been doing recently, but there's enough to still make one. So without much more to talk about in this intro, let's roll the forecast. Alright guys, and we're going to begin with our severe weather for today, which is a marginal threat of severe weather for eastern Ohio, eastern Kentucky, Virginia, and Georgia. So generally scraped across the east coast here. It's a very low tornado risk, but there is one that exists here for Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and eastern Ohio. So, in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, we have a damaging wind risk all across this marginal risk of severe weather. And there's also a damaging wind risk up here in North Dakota. And around the same areas, there's a hail risk as well. Our Day 2 outlook right now is a slight risk of severe weather for Grand Forks, Thief River Falls, International Falls, Fergus Falls, Fargo, so generally all across these areas. And our tornado risk for tomorrow is just a simple 2% tornado threat. And for those same areas are under a 15% damaging wind risk. Our hail risk is 15% for those same exact areas. So generally not too much concern. Our Day 3 right now is just simply a marginal threat for southern Arizona. And there's no more outlooks after that. So let's just go to our jet stream, because I do think eventually the weather's going to get active again. So, when this loads here. As you can see, here, the weather pattern is going to stay active for a little bit, but then for about a week or so, we're going to enter a zonal pattern. However, I do think that eventually there will be a trough ejection over the Rockies that would result in a powerful severe weather event, and then it will just start getting active again with significant severe weather. Alright, and then I'm going to go over our fire risk, which right now we actually have a critical fire risk for Idaho, Montana, and western Wyoming. And this is so, like, if you live in these areas, if you live in the red, you need to be especially careful with anything that can catch on fire. And I recommend not camping today. I would have a plan just in case you need to evacuate. Now, I'm not going to force you to evacuate today, but you need to have a plan just in case you need to. And here's your risk for the Day 2 outlook. So, across Idaho, from Idaho to Nebraska and South Dakota, from Nebraska and South Dakota down into the Texas Panhandle. So, generally, tomorrow is a lower risk, but, I mean, it doesn't make any fires impossible. Alright, now we're going to go to our excessive rainfall with today, which is a slight risk for the Ohio Valley and some parts of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, another one on the coast of North Carolina, and then one in the Florida Panhandle. Day 2 right now is just is another slight risk for the Florida Panhandle, the Carolinas coastline, and Connecticut, northern New Jersey, southern New York, Connecticut, into southern Massachusetts. And then our day 3 is just a marginal risk. There is a slight risk of excessive rainfall on our day 4 outlook here in Iowa and northern Illinois. So be ready for that. And then day 5 is just a simple marginal threat. We'll continue to update you over the next few days about this. And then let's just go over our temperatures over the next few days. Let's go. We're just going to use apparent temperatures for this one. And we do got another heat dome that's coming to the Great Plains over the next few days. But we actually got cooler temperatures into the Midwest, which is definitely a relief from all the heat that we've been seeing. But that's going to change quickly over the next few days. We're going to see apparent temperatures up to 105 degrees in some spots. And isolated locations may even get up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And this heat wave is going to continue to shift to the east. And there's also a bit of heat here in the southwest. And we could actually hit temperatures up to 115 degrees in isolated spots. But that risk is low. And I think that, it's just I was thinking that this was going to be a significant heat wave. But it's just a heat dome that's set up over the southwest. I would still be ready for this, but generally that risk is pretty low. And then this is Tropical Storm Genevieve. Let's go to satellite for a moment. As you can see, this is definitely more of a wind producer rather than a rain producer. This thing is going to weaken down, eventually down to a tropical depression, so it's no longer going to be too much of a concern here in a few days. So, yeah. But I would not recommend driving through these conditions still. It's still a tropical storm, so yeah. And then, so let's go over our models here. I'm going to go to the 300 millibar wind. And actually, I missed this, but there's a little tropical storm that forms there. It actually goes into California, but that'd be very weak. But the GFS shows a little hurricane forming, or tropical storm, if not hurricane, forming here over the next few days here in the Pacific Ocean, tracking the same path that Genevieve took. So yeah, and then the Atlantic Ocean, it just still does not look like it's going to pick up activity. This does look like maybe a slight tropical storm here. But again, you don't always see tropical storms on the jet stream. Anyways, that'll be it for today's forecast. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you can share it to spread the word. You don't have to, but I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next one.